comes the time. The whole wide world will welcome the rising sun. Here comes the time for everyone to see that what will be, will be. This is the time for you and I to stand together as one. Yeah. They will know, they will know. The sun is rising from east to west, from north to south. Can't you see the sun is rising? Oh, you wave your flag and be proud of who you are, because the sun is rising. We're shining so bright all over the world. We are the sun, we are rising. We spent our lives in pain and misery, never gonna trade our freedom with any mystery. It's affecting our soul and it's killing us slow. With what we've been through, we are far from being good, but we are blessed by Jovista, Biafra. So we're never gonna give up. We're never gonna give up. There'll be light in the end of a tunnel. It will shine so bright all time. The whole wide world will embrace us. Nobody can stop us, nobody can cage us, nobody can stand us, yeah. They will know, they will know. The sun is rising from east to west, from north to south. Can't you see the sun is rising? Oh, you wave your flag and be proud of who you are, because the sun is rising. We're shining so bright all over the world. We are the sun, we are rising. The windows and curtains, green lights be revealing. When I think about how blessed we are, goosebumps all over my body. Sunrise to the black stripe, black strength crossing grey stripes. Clashes upon clashes, many lives turn to ashes. When I ponder and reminisce, the actions I see malice. Blood on the ground, this is how we fly. Our beautiful flag all around the world. Blood on the ground, this is how we fly. Our beautiful flag all around the world. We go carry the cross together, we walk through to Zion. The stumble will rise, how the victory will start. They will know, they will know. The sun is rising from east to west, from north to south. Can't you see the sun is rising? I still wave your flag all over the world, because the sun is rising. I still be shining so bright all over the world. We are the sun, we are rising. They will know, they will know, they will know. Keep our light shining. The sun is rising. Oh, wave your flag anywhere you are. Keep our light shining. The sun is rising. Oh. Freedom, freedom, yeah. Shine the sun, we are rising.
Good afternoon and welcome to Biafra Television Europe. I am Mother Jovista Chichi, and if this is your first time of joining us on BTV, you are welcome. This afternoon, we are going to take a look at some of the revelations or confessions made by the former military head of state, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. But before we do that, let us take a look at IPOB press statement after the 2025 national budget was read in the National House. IPOB stated, organize referendum for Biafra exit. IPOB tells Tinubu government, condemns alleged exclusion of Southeast from 2025 projects. The indigenous people of Biafra, IPOB, has called on the President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, the Nigerian government, to organize a referendum for the peaceful exit of Biafra, warning that failure to do so may lead to another civil war. To prevent a repeat of the 1967 to 1970 civil war, IPOB maintained that since the Nigerian government does not consider the Southeast part of its territory, they should heed our call for a Biafra referendum and allow us to exit peacefully to avoid another civil war. The group, formed in 2014 to campaign the restoration of the defunct Biafra Republic, accused the Nigerian government of deliberately excluding the Southeast from all capital projects in the 2025 national budget. This is a clear confirmation that the Nigerian state has denied Ndigbo citizenship, said Ima Powerful, IPOB's Media and Publicity Secretary. The earlier Ndigbo realized that our hope for survival and prosperity lies in an independent Biafra nation, the better. IPOB emphasized that the Southeast contributes significantly to the Nigerian's economy, with over 40% of revenue from oil, gas, and non-oil sectors coming from the region. The group regretted that despite this, no capital project was allocated to the region in the 2025 budget. The Nigerian government under Ahmed Bola Tinubu has shown disdain and ethnic hatred against Ndigbo, said IPOB. It is time to wake up from any illusion of belonging in a country that actively marginalizes us. While criticizing the Southeast lawmakers for their inaction, IPOB stated that the true representatives of the people would have boycotted the National Assembly in protest for the alleged manifest hatred to their people. And the statement titled Exclusion of Ndigbo from Capital Project in 2025 Budget should motivate Ndigbo to pursue Biafra independence. IPOB urged Ndigbo to remain resolute in their quest for independence. The only path to dignity and prosperity lies in the creation of sovereign state of Biafra. And you can see these press statements in different um, daily, in different Nigerian dailies like Sahara Report and other Nigerian dailies. I still remain one of the Jovista Chichi, welcoming you once again to Biafra Television Europe. For a few days now, the entire media has been so hot about the book launch by the former military head of state, General Ibrahim Badamasi Babangida. But there's a surprising thing at the disparity of which the iconic the iconic write-ups or parts of that book, that one part has been circulating around the media. You know, one thing about media is that media is always being used to distort information. There are very two iconic revelations or confessions made by Ibrahim Babangida, but one has been flying, and one, why did the other one not flying by the mainstream media? The one flying is that IBB has revealed that Abiola MKO won the 1993, the annulled 1993 election. That has been what is flying everywhere. But as we will always say that we will tell our story by ourselves. Despite that revelation, there is another confession that IBB made. But before I will go to that, because the title of our today's program is "Can the Confession of IPB Heal the Scars?" Ndibo has these scars, indelible scars, in our minds since after 1970, which has not been healed. But before I move into that proper, the annulment of June 12, 1993, to me, is not is not news to me, because many people knew that MKO Abiola won that election. But maybe because it had just come out of, let me say, a member of the deep state, people are now free to talk about it. You see, my parents were politicians, and that time they belonged to uh, the MKO Abiola's party, and I knew everything that happened, everything that took place, and I am sure that so many Nigerians were aware of what happened. And when you look critically at it, the peoples behind the annulment are still the Yorubas, because they will visit Abiola, say different thing, and they will visit Abacha and IBB, and they say different thing. So for IBB coming after 32 years to announce to the world his guilt is not news to me, and I'm sure also to so many people, or to so many Nigerians. Another iconic part of that book is the biggest confession. Yes, I call it the biggest confession because this hidden truth has taken lives. This hidden truth has destroyed so many things for more than 50 years now. Even when some people come to let the truth bare, nobody will want to hear from the person. Because this confession made by IBB, I remember Mazi Nnamdi Kanu talking about it critically around 2018 and 2019. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu has told us about the so-titled Igbo queue. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu made it clear to us that that queue was never Igbo queue. And now IBB has come because probably old age is now haunting him, and he has come openly to make this confession and to put it down in history that the what they framed as Igbo Q was never an Igbo Q. Instead, it was a narrative pushed by the deep state to continue marginalization of certain ethnic group. Which group? Igbo group, Igbo ethnic group. And he mentioned the people in his book. He mentioned the people involved in that queue. And when you go through that list, even because as the days are coming, you see many people putting up the names, people doing research. There were about 8 persons, and only two, only two people were Igbos, Kaduna Nzogo, and Ifajuna. But others were the Adewale Ademoyega, Captain Adeleke, Lieutenant Fola Oyewole, Olufemiyon, and others. When you check the actors, you see that eight of them, that's about four, were from Yoruba ethnic group. Major Zogu from Delta State, and Captain Jallo uh, from Niger Delta. But they kept pushing on the wrong narrative that led to that genocidal war. And if you check that queue, you see, when I heard it from IBB, I said, yes, this was exactly what Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said. Mazi Nnamdi Kanu said that queue, the purpose of it was to release Awolowo from prison and reinstall him as the executive uh, president. And also that not only the northerners that were killed in that queue, that Igbos were also killed. He went ahead to mention even the name of the Igbo captain that also killed the Igbo captain that is in charge of the ammunition, the vehicles, and other items used by the military. But these people, because of the deep hatred, according to Mazi Nnamdi says that their hate on us is hereditary. Because of this hereditary hatred, they tagged it Igbo Q. And when you check the Awolowo that was in prison, who imprisoned him? Why was he imprisoned? Under whose regime was he imprisoned? Was it an Igbo man that imprisoned him? Was it Igbo regime? Not at all. It was because as a result of the problem that ensued immediately after independence, there was a fallout between Akintola and Awolowo. Two of them are Yorubas. They are never Igbos. That made them depleted from their parties. And the party, the ruling party then was MPC, which was being led by Tafawa Balawa. And because these people were having this problem about, the problem was in Western region. Western region was still the Yoruba states. And this problem continued about how and who will run the Western region. The crisis now led to the cancellation of election of NDDP, which after Akintola, they now formed another party, because as a result of the crisis, there was declaration of a state of emergency in the Western region. Now, as a result of that, there was this widespread breakdown of law and order. And the crisis continued. And uh, Awolowo excluded, there was this exclusion from the national government and his party. Sorry, there was this rise. The National Party excluded Akintola's party. And now the National Party was rising dangerously to a position that Akintola and his group, we are now seeing that these people are rising to a position that will be too dangerous for them. What they did, they now maneuvered and joined Northern Party, and then they were being brought into the house without any election because already there was a cancelled election. That was how they now came to power. And Akintola, before you know it, there was now this conspiracy against Awolowo and his group. And what they did was that they arrested them, tried them, and jailed Awolowo for treason. That was how Awolowo got into prison under the regime of Tafawa Balewa. And now Major Nzogo and other people who no longer like the way things were going in the country now plan to carry out this coup to release Awolowo and then install him as executive president. And that was how they now framed the coup to be Igbo coup. And that was what led to the crisis, original crisis, that they massacred our people in the north. Because the truth, we are not told. They hid the truth. They massacred our people. Ojukwu became angry. And that was what led to secession of Biafra between 1967 to 1970. And at the end of at the beginning of January 1970, Gowon came up with no victory, no vanquished. And the infamous 3 Rs was agreed to be implemented. Until date, none of it has been implemented. And they call the killings, they call it Nigerian Biafra Civil War, Nigerian Civil War, Biafra Civil War, which was not true. What happened was pure genocide because our people were massacred. Our people were massacred because of the lies told by the deep state or the narrative being pushed by the deep state. Now, IBB has come to make this confession that January 15, 1966 coup was not Igbo coup. Now, I want to ask, can this confession bring healing? Can this confession bring forgiveness? Of course not. Because there are no other suggestions or processes made or suggested by IBB that the Igbos will be healed, that the Igbos will be appeased with, so that they can forgive, so that these scares left since 1967 could be healed. No suggestion was made. He just came to make that confession. You see, this genocide that our people stood for 30 months, for 30 months, Gowon committed war crime against our people under Geneva's Convention. Starvation is a war crime. Gowon committed this war crime against our people. Obasanjo, who is still alive today, committed this war crime against our people, because even after the war ended, Obasanjo continued killing our people. Obasanjo was said to be led from Nnamdi, Aba province, Umuahia, from 12th division, Aba Umuahia. Obasanjo, even after Gowon announced no victory, no vanquished, Obasanjo continued killing our people. More than 3.5 million children were starved to death. Civilians were massacred, bringing to a total of about 5.6 million people. And you just want us to wake up and just forget it. You just want us to wake up and begin to forgive everybody. Now, when you check what caused the war, it is still ongoing. And that was why I first read the IPOB press statement after this 2025 national budget. You can see that even the hatred that the Tinubu has on Igbos is worse than the one Gowon have on our people. Last year, there was bursary disbursement to students. People from the southeast were not included until we raised alarm. And they later came to tell us that it was done. Whether they did it or not, we don't know. And today again, in national budget, the southeast, where you get your oil and gas, and they also contribute to other revenues, are also excluded. The exclusion from power is still there. The marginalization is still there. So IBB coming up to make this confession is not enough, because we were wounded. And so many people have been dying without witnessing this healing. Ojukwu died without witnessing the healing. I will play the voice of Onyeka Onwenu. I think that voice was about 2 years ago. I'm sure it's more than 1 year. Her pains, her own scares. Did Onyeka Onwenu return to glory? I cried not because she died, but it was the same cry that I cried that the day Ojukwu was led to rest, was the same cry I cried when Onyeka Onwenu died. Because immediately I heard the news, I rushed and began to play that her speech. And you wouldn't know that people like this were passing through pains, and you don't want this pain to heal. Rather, you continue in marginalizing us. You continue strangulating Southeast economy. You strangulated our economy during and after the war. You never allow people to take back their deposits in the banks. Rather, you resorted in giving people, everyone, £20, irrespective of your deposit in the bank. Their properties were being held everywhere. You promised reconciliation. You promised reintegration. And none of this have seen the light of the day. Let us hear the lamentations of Onyekonwenu before she died.
It's a great privilege to be here with you today to talk about a subject matter that is very close to our hearts, that's very personal to many of us, very sensitive matter, very painful matter indeed. And yes, some of us have lived with some bitterness, and we make no apologies about that. We were a people in war, led into war not by our own wishes or design, but it's self-defense. No apologies, Nigeria. No apologies to the world. But here we are. I'm sorry, I'm going to stand up, if you don't mind. My name is Onyekonwenu, and it's not the Onyekonwenu that you think you know, that you read about in the papers, but the Onyekonwenu that was born and raised in Port Harcourt. That's correct. And the person who made that statement knows. When he says DK Onwenu, he's telling you where this person came from. My father was a first Arundel man in the Federal House, and he was representing the Port Harcourt constituency. He was the principal of Enitonia High School. He was a brilliant man, but he died too early. Thank you. That's my background. I'm also from Abia State. Since I am Adamazi, I'm Umwaro. Adamazi. I'm from Imo State, Arundel, and I'm from Anambra, where my mother comes from. I can go there and live. I can do anything I want in Anambra. Nobody can say anything to me. I'm also from Lagos State. Surprise, surprise. Yeah, I'm from Lagos State. Married a Yoruba man. I have 2 Yoruba children. They only paid 5,000 naira as bride price. So we have a right to demand more money anytime. 5 minutes going. Yes, 50 years after I fought the war. As a young girl, 14, 15, 16, 17, I was in that war. And I lost many relatives. I worked in hospitals. I carried babies who died in my arms. I treated old people who took days to die. People were dying out of hunger. Even our soldiers were dying out of hunger at a particular point. But thank God, we survived. You see, when my father died at 40, he was a politician and also a principal, but he didn't have much money. In those days, you had to keep your day job, even if you were a member of the House of Representatives. Yes, my mother, an Anambra woman, was a trader. Put your hands together for Anambra woman. She was richer than my dad, so my dad would borrow money from her to buy the land, and he never paid back. You know how it is. And my mother dared not raise the subject again. At the end of the war, I could not go back to Port Harcourt. My home was abandoned property. Those of you who come from Port Harcourt know the story. The home that a widow, my father had just laid the foundation when he died in a motor car accident, on duty. The building that a widow, and living just adjacent to us Deco Foods on Hospital Road. We could see you, we could relate. In fact, I thought we were related because every family in Port Harcourt was together. You didn't care where they came from or who they were. Once you're from Port Harcourt, every parent had the right to reprimand another child that you saw misbehaving. It was a beautiful time, but we couldn't get back to it. So for me, the Civil War never ended. At the end of that war, my father, oh no, it never ended. It's still going on. I had no family house. My poor mother went back to claim the property she was beating into a coma by people whom she had helped all her life and sent to school because she's an Igbo woman and now Port Harcourt belonged.
Well, I'm sure that the viewers were listening because the audio I'm playing is not that audible, but I believe that the viewers are listening. Onyeka Onwenu said that do not think that she's a Nigerian that you think that she was. She was explaining how she has never been healed from what she witnessed during that genocidal war. She said that his father built house in Port Harcourt where they were living. And that time they were all Igbos in Onyeka Onwenu Street. He said that time that place was Igbo people that owned that place. They were all Igbos. But later the mother died. And the father died in a motor accident. And after the war, the mother came back to claim the house built by her father, which they were all Igbos then before that war. She said that her mother was beaten to coma. There is something I want to hear her say because there was something that she said. Let's repeat a bit.
You know how it is. And my mother dared not raise the subject again. At the end of the war, I could not go back to Port Harcourt. My home was abandoned property. Those of you who come from Port Harcourt know the story. The home that a widow, my father had just laid the foundation when he died in a motor car accident on duty. The building that a widow, and living just adjacent to us, the Foods on Hospital Road. We could see you, we could relate. In fact, I thought we were related because every family in Port Harcourt was together. You didn't care where they came from or who they were. Once you're from Port Harcourt, every parent had the right to reprimand another child that you saw misbehaving. It was a beautiful town, but we couldn't get back to it. So for me, the Civil War never ended.
Good. This is what I want us to hear. Onyeka Onwenu said that to her, that the civil war has not ended. Do you know that they call it civil war, but we know that it is not. This genocide, do you know that the conspiracies and the unfound this hidden truth is the most devastating history in Africa today. Is the most devastating conflict in Africa history today. Is very, very devastating. You see, how old she said she was in her 13 to 17. But I don't know how old she was before she died. But I'm sure she was above 60. She was saying that the wounds that was inflicted upon her when she was 13 to 17 years or 14 to 17 years old were unable to heal. Let's continue.
At the end of that war, my father, oh no, it never ended. It's still going on. I had no family house. My poor mother went back to claim the property she was beating into a coma by people whom she had helped all her life and sent to school because she's an Igbo woman, and now Port Harcourt belonged to another group of people. They forgot the sacrifices that the Igbos made. It's still going on. No apology has ever been made about.
This is Onyeka talking. Onyeka is not or was not a member of IPOB. She was a Nigerian activist. But you know, when she wanted to talk, she said, do not think that Onyeka you know is the one you are seeing here. Because she was pouring out her wounds, her wounded hearts, which never healed after so many years. And that is why she said that as far as Onyeka is concerned, that the war has not ended. And me and you knew that the war has not ended. Even Tinubu knew that the war has not ended. If the war has ended, why did Tinubu excluded Southeast from 2025 national budget? Why the exclusion in power if the war has ended? You see, until the rightful thing is done, the history of the genocidal war against Igbo ethnic group will remain a deep wound in Nigeria history. Let's continue listening to her.
The road that is now referred to Harukusi Drive used to be DK Owenu Road because of the sacrifice that people like the Owenus, the Ikokus, you know that the sacrifices they made in this building of Port. Here I am. So I traveled outside thanks to my sister who was at Harvard at the time, who organized for the rest of us to come and go to school. But we all came back to do what? To develop Nigeria. I have tried, with the little talent that God has given me, to use it for the betterment of my society and my country. But can I tell you something? That if I were a Yoruba or Hausa woman, I would probably have had more patronage, I would have had more help and more support than I have got by my self-help effort to raise this country up.
Onyeka want to say that all of a sudden, the contributions made by the Igbos to build the country called Nigeria, they were all truncated. They were all forgotten. Remember when Igbo started building Nigeria, there was this Nigerian journalist that I hosted sometime. The day he said that he's more Nigerian. Those who watched that program will remember that day I told him that, look, that you are not more Nigerian than any other Igbo man out there. It played out in 1953 when the North wanted to secede from Nigeria. It played out in 1960. After 1960, that Zik never became the head of state but remained the ceremonial governor. It played out in 1966 Q, where Igbo man fought to bring out a Yoruba man from prison and install him as executive provisional president of Nigeria. It is playing out till this moment because Igbo man will sanfill all the canals in Lagos State, deserts in the north. The Igbo man will go and build, establish. How many streets do Dangote have in Onitsha, in Aba, in Owerri? How many? How many streets? How many companies do Otedola have in Owerri, Onitsha, Aba? How many? It is still playing out that Igbo man is more Nigerian than every other Nigerian. Yet, they hated us. They marginalize us. They exclude us. It is the resources of Igbo man that was used and is still being used to build Nigeria. The budget that you made, where did the money come from? Where did the revenue come from? Igbo man is the major taxpayer, the major contributor, the major VAT payer. Yet, you hate him so much. You conspired, the Yoruba man conspired against Awolowo, conspired against Abiola. And Igbo man works towards releasing them. But all they do was to conspire against the Igbo man. Yet, let the Igbo man go. You won't allow Igbo man to go. You allow Igbo man to go. The grievances, the scars will remain, and it will continue growing deep and deeper until the rightful thing is done. You know, Igbos, we thought that it was just the former administrator that hated Igbo so much. But you can see how the Yoruba man hated an Igbo man. People were thinking that immediately Tinubu comes to power, that the first thing he will do is to release Mazi Nnamdi Kanu unconditionally. But because of their deep hate to Igbo man, he allowed Mazi Nnamdi Kanu to be languishing in DSS dungeon. A man who committed no offense. You wanted to try him for treason. Did he commit treason? Did he plot coup? All he was asking for is my freedom. Since you do not want to treat me fairly, since there is inequality, since there is injustice, then let me go and be on my own. And you dumped him there. And these grievances will continue growing and growing. Let's see how Onyeka ended her speech.
But I'm not asking anybody for anything. I put myself through school. My widowed mother did her best, but I was working 2 jobs in America to put myself through school. I didn't want to take Nigerian scholarship because they were giving it to everybody, those who did.
Can you believe this? Can you believe this? Now, without listening to Onyeka Onwenu, seeing Onyeka Onwenu associating with Nigerians, doing everything for Nigeria, doing everything for the growth of and good image of Nigeria, could you believe that this Jane have this care in her heart? Sometimes when I come to think of it, because always I play this video, I watch it, I listen to it. Sometimes I won't blame myself going emotional sometimes, because when you listen to her voice, the way her voice was shaking, you will see that she was bleeding in the heart. And for more than 50 years, this woman bled without healing. She said because of this, she rejected Nigerian scholarship. And this is what an Igbo man, that I don't know how Igbo parents beget them. We tell you, please forget this. Something that has happened many years ago. Can't you forget this? Let's go. Let's forge ahead. How? Are you for real? Are you for real? As Onyeka Onwenu say that till date, or till her death, they were unable to claim back their house or their houses in Port Harcourt. That was sometime, I couldn't remember the year, but that was during the military regime as a teenager. After I read from library how Zeke messed everything and what they did to us and how the 3 R's were not implemented, I read about Louis Ojuku's property in Ikoyi. Because whenever I read about uh, people's massacre and how they confiscated our properties, it makes me go angry. That day, I didn't tell anybody. I said I wanted to go and see. I said I wanted to go and see. That was when Mara was the governor of Lagos State. I don't even know where I was going, but all I knew is that I just came out at the bus stop and just took a vehicle. He stopped me at CMS and I took, I was asking people, how can I get to so place? They said, okay, it's either you take a cab, that you cannot get commercial bus to the place we are going. I think somebody advised me to take, people were curious. This small girl, where were you going? I didn't mind. I wanted to go and witness something. I wanted to go and see something because reading that provoked me. And I boarded the keke. I forgot the name of that street in Ikoyi, but I still remember the environment very, very well. I still remember the environment. I went, it was an estate, Louis Ojuku's estate, that Nigerian government confiscated till date. The very first day I listened to Onyekonwenu's confession, immediately my mind went to Louis Ojuku's property that I went to witness. Very large estates. Until date, Nigerian government is still holding those properties. Onyekonwenu waited. She waited and she died without seeing the reconciliation and reintegration promised by Gowon. You see, Nigerian government can go as far as reintegrating Boko Haram terrorist group into Nigerian society, but they were unable to integrate Biafran people that were scattered all over the place during the genocidal war. They were unable to reintegrate them. If Nigerian government is claiming that there is reconciliation, where is the reconciliation? When there is still deep hate, where is the reconciliation? When Igbo man cannot be the chief of armed forces of Nigeria, when Igbo man cannot be IG, when Igbo man cannot be president of Nigeria, I mean, where is the reconciliation? Where? You promise rehabilitation till today. If rehabilitation has taken place, truly, there won't be anything like ethnic crisis. What caused ethnic crisis? in ethnic or amongst Igbo nationalities is as a result of the trauma and the lies of this genocidal war. Now, Gowon promised that our people will be rehabilitated. Did that take place? And the result today is, my name is Chidinma, but I am not an Igbo. The effect of war, the effect of genocide. And you can still see an adult like Nelson Wike disgracing his progenitor or progenitors, rejecting them. Ikpere man that emanated from Bini, that is the effect of the genocide. Because there was no, or there were no rehabilitation. If our people has been rehabilitated, Chema would have known that she's an Igbo girl. Emeka would have known that he is an Igbo boy. But the trauma and the effect is still there. Because the 3 R's were never implemented. Yes, they are going about now crying about annulment of June 12th or what should be done, or what is the expectations. The expectations, as IBB has made this confession, their expectations. Now I want to ask, though you can compare the two, but you can relate them. You can somehow relate them. The annulment of June 12th and the fraudulent election of 2023. The fraudulent election. Now, what can the confessions of IBB do to the governments, present governments in power, to entire Nigerians, and to haters of Igbos? What could this confession do? They won't learn, no. You think that the expectations, what are the expectations? Probably to declare Abiola winner of that and all the 1993 and all the election, maybe just to declare him winner, maybe, I don't know, to bring the children closer to the government. It will not teach them that what happened in 2023 must not repeat itself come 2027. Is the INEC officials learning anything from the confessions of IBB? And you see, as the mainstream media can distort information, have you heard anybody talking about Humphrey Nwosu, who was the then INEC chairman that went ahead to pronounce that result despite all the threats? Nobody is talking about him because he's an Igbo man. But they will be quick to talk about Major Nzogu. That when you come to sharing of resources, Major Nzogu is not an Igbo man. He's from South. I be Delta Igbo, but I know be Igbo. Now Major Nzogu has become an Igbo man. So what is INEC putting in place come 2027? Is this teaching the Yorubas and the man on the seat with deep hate on Igbos? Is this confession going to make him to repent and give Igbo man a chance? Though we know that it is not possible because their hatred on us, according to our leader, is hereditary. And that is why IPOB has asked Jagaban, President Bola Ahmed Tinubu, to peacefully conduct referendum that will be monitored by international communities so that we will decide where we want to belong. That is the only thing that can heal our wound. When they come to power, political power, they will go and pick puppets, stooges, who will not be able to protest for their people. In the house, a budget was read, and somebody raised the issue that why were the Southeast states not inclusive in this budget, and they shouted him down. Now IPOB, through our press statement, is telling them what they should have done. That was what Action Group did in Lagos in 1953 when they went to conference, when the Northerners were agitating for secession. The NNC staged a walkout. They walked out from the house. And remember, they still used it to kill our people. Because when they came out of the house, people were stoning them, people were laughing at them. I mean, the Northerners. People were laughing at them. Because the party of Akintola, they were saying that independence should be in 1956. Why the Northerners said it should be in 1960. That was what caused the problem. Yet they used it to massacre our people in the streets of Jos, in the streets of Kanu. They used it to massacre our people. So, since our people cannot be integrated into Nigerian states, since there will be no reconciliation, that it is documented, it is written and documented that as long as Nigeria exists, that Igbo man shall by no means near Asarok. Remember what happened in 2019 election. Remember that it was because Peter Obi was the vice president, a vice presidential candidate to Atiku. You know, that was why what happened in that election happened. Because El Rufai swore that over his dead body, that Igbo man will come closer to Asarok. Atiku would have won that 2019 election. But he was denied the mandate simply because an Igbo man was his vice presidential candidate, Peter Obi. And yet, people like Peter Obi are even the people who are making us to feel these scars so much. They make us to feel this wound so much. Peter Obi after 2019 did not learn anything. And after 2023, Peter Obi is still believing that he will come in 2027. And now that all the obedience did not even know where they belong to, they are all waiting for 2027, which they know that it can never be possible. Did INEC use your IREV and your portals and your... Did they make use of them? Did they make use of them? Now you are thinking that in 2023 they will come to make use of it. Peter Obi could not learn. Is to be moving from southwest to north. anywhere somebody hits, another na hit her leg or his leg on a stone, P2B will go and make donation. But 3 innocent youths were slaughtered by the militia group of Charles Soludo. P2B has never said a word. Not even a tweet. Stooges. Stooges like the one they called Kanu, boasting how to topple Abia State 2027, or I don't know when they're doing Abia State governorship election. 4 years, 3 years has not gone. He's already threatening the Abia State governor. Stooges everywhere. Was he not there when this budget was read? Where is Ojus or Kanu or Carlo? Where was he? Where was Ateze, who was given 500 million? Where were they? These people cause us deeper injuries. They inflict us more than those who declare themselves our enemies, because we never declared anybody our enemy. They are the ones that declare themselves our enemies. They are. We are not talking about Asaba massacre. Has any apology been made? Has any apology been made? And somebody will be telling us that we should just forget about it and move on. And BBC being used by the deep state to control the mainstream media. To push the wrong narrative about the genocidal war. You can still see some of our people patronizing them. I am pretty much sure that the way Onyekawenu was never healed, same way many Igbos like late Pambazlika Amechi and that veteran, I think from Delta, what's his name? He died after Pambazlika Amechi. No, he died before Pambazlika Amechi. And so many of them. And probably, you see, there may be some of Igbo artists whom you are thinking that all is well with them. They may be passing through same pains that Onyekawenu went through, that you and I are still going through. How can you be excluded from your own supposedly country simply because you are an Igbo man? Simply because you're an Igbo man. You know, they will keep recycling the story of how the 1966 coup was being led or being Igbo coup. But you see, they never take time to tell us that Chinyelu Unebu was gunned down by his own brother. His own brother, Chris Anuforo. They will not tell us their truth. So, in a nutshell, IBB and Obasanjo, and those of them who are still alive, and all the members of deep state should understand that no amount of cover up, no amount of conspiracy can heal our wound. The scars is there. It can never be healed until the necessary thing is done. And what is that necessary thing? Since they say they don't want us, we too no longer want them. Let referendum be conducted and let our people go. Confession without repentance and restitution. True repentance comes with restitution. Without restitution, without repentance, without restitution, there is no repentance. So the confession means nothing to us because this was the truth that we already know. If you take what belongs to someone and you say that you have repented, your true repentance is only when you return that item you have stolen from that person. Return it back. Then you know that you have truly repented. That is restitution. Without that, there is no healing, there is no forgiveness. And that is the message that I have for IBB, for Tinubu, the Nigerian president, to Obasanjo, and to all members of deep states. The message I have for them is that the genocidal war that took the lives of 5.56 million people cannot just be forgotten. And those that committed war crime against us must be brought to book. They must be tried. And for referendum, they must release our leader Mazi Kanu and do what? Conduct a referendum. And that will take us to the victory secured once again by the Iroko, the legal luminary, barrister Ifani Ejiofor, in the bid to provide the indigenous people of Biafra, as usual, the Minister of Defense and Chief of Defense Staff, Honorable Mohammed Abubakar and General Christopher Babin Musa, they went too fast to declare the head of the Directors of States of the Indigenous People of Biafra, Mazi Chike Dozemu. They went too fast to declare him wanted. He was wanted as a terrorist, as a kidnapper, as a violent criminal, and all sorts of accusation violating his fundamental and constitutional rights. They declare him wanted. But IPOB, knowing the rightful thing to do at every given time, decided to take the bull by the horn. And as usual, erudite barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor went into action. He swung into action without any noise. Without any noise. And just last week, he came out with this great victory. I think I have to look for that victory. Sorry, I supposed to get it ready before now. But let me quickly see if I can see it so that we can see what the court asked Nigerian government to do. Because the court gave Nigerian army or military directives of what they are going to do. Okay. Okay. Now, the courts. Okay, it says court directives and compensation. Number one, the court directed the Minister of Defense and Chief of Defense Staff to immediately retract the unconstitutional declaration of Mazi Edozim as a terrorist, insurgent, kidnapper, violent criminal, and wanted person, and to issue unreserved public apology in two national newspapers to Mazi Edozim. Secondly, the court also awarded 500 million, 5 million naira in damages to Mazi Edozim for the infringement of his fundamental rights to dignity of human person. You know, so many a times, as lawless as Nigeria is, the country that never obey their own law, but they will be quick to tell you that constitution say this, constitution say that. They can quickly quote for you the 1999 constitution as amended, but they will never obey their own law. Now, these are the directives coming from the Nigerian Court of Law to Minister of Defense and Chief of Defense Staff, that this is what they must do. So we are expecting Christopher or General Christopher Wabin Musa and the Minister of Defense to quickly tender this unreserved apology on two national dailies, and then pay our head of directorate of states the damages. You see, when you read that publication properly, you will see where Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor stated that it was only Mazi Edozim who was able to challenge the Minister of Defense and Chief of Army Staff. He was the only person who was able to challenge them because he knew that he is a legitimate citizen, that it is fundamental human right to fight for his freedom. And he won the victory. He won the victory, and we applaud Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor for all the victories he has been bagging back to back for IPOB, and that is the legal luminary that we know, and that is the lawyer that IPOB have. He has done so much in securing the freedom of our people from different prisons. There is no case of an IPOB member that Barrister Ifeanyi Ejiofor has filed in the law court that he doesn't come out a victor. He always come out with victory, and we celebrate with our head of directors of states, Mazi Chika Edoziem. We congratulate him, we keep supporting him, and we keep moving with him because we know that he is leading us to the right direction, and we believe that at the end of the tunnel there must be light. And this is where I would like to end today's program. I want to say thank you to our viewers and to all of you who have stayed with us in this moment as we continue. We must remain resolute. We are resilient about this. Freedom is a project that we must not abandon. No matter how much they want to profile us, no matter how much they want to demonize IPOB, we shall remain resolute. Do not forget, support ESN wherever you may be. Without ESN, we are in great danger. And this is where I am ending my programs this Sunday, as I still remain one of the Jovista Chichi, saying to you, have a wonderful day and enjoy your Sunday.